Hello, I'm Trifina, and welcome to my channel, Healing with Hope and Encouragement, where I go through experiences that I had during my suffering and give you some encouragement from what I have learned. Today, I'm going to talk about my top 3 game changers used during my stroke recovery. So, when I was going through recovery, there were days when I felt like I was drowning in uncertainty. But in those moments, certain books became a lifeline for me. They reminded me of God's presence and they gave me hope and they helped me to take it one day at a time in their devotional books. Each of them brought something unique to my healing journey. And I'll also share how they may encourage you as well, no matter what you're facing. I'll be sharing these 3 devotional books with you that helped me during my recovery. The first one is called You're Going to Make It by Lisa Turkers. Okay, after a few days of seeing how depressing rehab was, and so many people who were affected, like that unit had maybe 45 people, and people were coming and going, and everyone there were affected by neurological conditions, like different kinds, because we got to do group therapy as well, and you hear the other people talk about their experience. It was overwhelming and depressing, and I started to feel really down. I needed a boost. And so Lisa Turker's book is, to me, is like a friend. You're going to make it. It was like a friend sitting across the table talking to me and gently reminded me to keep going. You know, she writes from a space of vulnerability because different things that I can relate to happen to her as well. And so honestly, she's honest about her struggles. And so she also offers practical tools to hold on to hope even when life is feeling unbearable. And so I have been following her for a while with her books and her workbooks because they helped me through situations that I was going through. And so a few weeks before my injury, I bought that devotional where you have morning readings and evening readings. And it really, I asked my family, can you take it in for me? Because I really needed a spiritual boost. And so that was one of the books that I read. And one thing I love is how she encourages her readers to have strength during weakness, even though it's hard. And she reminded me that it's okay not to keep it all together, not to have it all together, because God does have everything together. And that really resonated with me, and it helped me to find peace, even though it was not a situation that I was happy about. And it taught me to take one day at a time. So that was my first one that I had. And then when I came home the following year, because yes, it happened in June, but I'm still recovering. So the following year, in about January or so, I started to read another one, and it's called Open Doors by Rick Warren. And this book, it takes a slightly different approach from the first book, but it focuses on pretty much opportunities that you can grow in faith despite the challenges that you are having, because we will always have challenges. Some that we can deal with, some that we can't. It looks impossible, but we'll always have challenges. So that book teaches you how to step through open doors that God has placed in front of us, though we don't know what's ahead. And that door may look like hardship, and how we can navigate that hardship. I was especially intrigued on a point that he made, that he said, God doesn't waste your pain. What? He does not waste your pain. Instead, he uses it to shape us and to grow us and to even bless others. And so I am using my pain that I had to bless others by doing this channel, to spread some hope in our world that seemed to be covered with turmoil. I want to be one of those people who is spreading hope despite my gruesome experience that I have. There is still hope. So during rehab, that gave me purpose, And it wasn't just now about surviving, but it was like thriving with God's plan. And so the devotional reminded me that whatever season you're in, that God is still opening doors for joy, even if you can't see it yet. The third book came in a very interesting way. It's called Healing with Hope by Trafina Brown. Me, I know. It was specifically written for those who are walking through physical and emotional recovery. And I wrote that book with even knowing that I was writing a book. And it is filled with practical encouragement and relatable stories and scriptural reminders of God's promises. And it's interesting how I started to write. I didn't know I was writing a book at first. So in rehab, like pretty much everyone else in rehab, I had a meltdown. I didn't know I was ever going to have one. I saw people having one, but I had mine. And because of that, I was seen by a neuropsychotherapist who explained to me. So that's a psychologist or someone, a therapist, a mental health therapist who help patients, people who are going through neurological impairments. And so when she came to see me, she explained to me that what was going on with me was a part of my grieving. She said it was necessary for acceptance in order for me to move on. And I needed to do that grieving in order to concentrate on my recovery. She also explained to me the stages of grieving and said that I'm going to go through these stages because I had a loss. And I'm like, a loss? She's like, yeah, you had death of your ability to do some body functions. You lost your independence. I also lost control, and I was control of my own activities. And I was dependent on people to do my basic functions for me, to help me with feeding, to take me to the bathroom, basic self-care. And so that was a loss. I lost control and independence by losing my function. One activity she recommended to me was writing. She said that I needed to start, she recommended for me to start journaling about anything that consumed my mind throughout the day. So I started writing, and it was dark at first, very dark, very dark. Then it started to lighten up, and then I started focusing on life lessons that I could learn from what I was going through, and then inspirational lessons as well. And I started writing all those down as I went through my recovery, my rehab process, which led me to the next devotional book we're talking about, Healing with Hope. So it's Healing with Hope, encouragement from one who walked the path, that I wrote and I put together. And it's probably, there's a link somewhere here in the description. So if you want it, you could take a look at it. And this is why this channel started too, Healing with Hope and Encouragement, because I want to encourage people that no matter what you're going through, that there is hope and you can get encouragement and be inspired from God. And so it's a 31-day devotional. And I was thinking about the average time people take to go through any rehab process, anywhere from 2 days to at least 4 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do a month's worth of devotional for people who are suffering so they can focus on God and be encouraged. And so the main theme is partnership between faith and perseverance. And so I wrote about also praying boldly while you take consistent forward moving steps of healing, both spiritually and physically. For any one of you going through a challenge, or if you know someone suffering or with going through emotional recovery, this book is a guide to keep you to move forward. I am extremely proud of completing it. But these 3 books that I highlighted, whether you're struggling to take a forward step, a forward leap, or celebrating a breakthrough, he is faithful. God is faithful to walk with you. This brings me to Isaiah 41, verse 10. It says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So be encouraged today. When you get Healing with Hope, let me know in the comments which story of mine resonated with you the most. Remember, hope is never out of reach. Share with someone today, like, and also subscribe to this channel for many more stories that will come. Keep trusting God, lean on His promises, and walk through the open doors that He has placed in front of you. Be encouraged today. Bye now.